Okay. Hello, everybody. Well, Jennifer's humor, y'all.
It's humor in herself.
I'm glad you didn't hear that. Hello, everyone. This is Misha Houston. Welcome to my channel and welcome to our live stream. We got a few people in the chat, Eduardo and Nancy. Thank you for joining us here tonight. And hopefully we'll have a few more people in here in a little while. Tonight we are discussing Eddard. Eddard is back up and on his feet again as best as he can be after his injury, and he's trying to take control of what's going on in King's Landing and what's going on in the Riverlands. And on his feet again as best as he can be.
Did I do that?
No, that was Jennifer, I believe.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. We're discussing Eddard. He's trying to take charge of the situation, of a terrible and growing situation that is happening in King's Landing and what's happening in the Riverlands. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nancy T and Eduardo, for joining us. And as I said before, hopefully we'll have a few more people in the chat as time goes on. Tonight we have Jennifer and Sarah here. Would you all like to introduce yourselves?
No, I just want to get right into the chapter.
Okay. Well, I am Misha Houston. If you need to get in touch with me, find me on Hangouts. Find me on Facebook under Misha Houston. Also find me on Instagram under Misha_Houston. I also have a Snapchat account, but I never go on it, so don't even worry about it. Sarah, you gonna do the overview tonight?
Sure, I will do it. Jen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hey, I'm Lady Wolverton, Jen. Everybody just calls me Jen. I don't even know I don't even know how you do Snapchat. What is that exactly?
Oh, I have no idea how to do it.
They have amazing filters.
Yeah, you take pictures off of your phone. It's like an Instagram platform. You take pictures and you comment. But I can't find anyone else's profile. I have no idea how to use Snapchat. I have a Snapchat account, but I just don't know how to use it. And
I like it when people send them to me because people are really funny at it. Like my brother will send them to me, or somebody, like someone from work will saying something funny, but I don't know how to do it. Like
I don't know how to do it either.
I've tried, but I'm usually like, you know what's really fun? Let's take a picture, and it doesn't work that way. So
yeah.
That's funny. Okay, I guess Snapchat too hip for me, but yeah, you guys, I'm Jennifer Wolverton on Facebook. I know that's old school, whatever.
I love Facebook.
I'm Jennifer. Well, I like being able to see my friend, like people I don't see every day, see their children, you know, people you go to high school with and such. That's why I really like Facebook. And
Okay.
And I'm Twitter, Jennifer Wolverton 1976. And yeah, and Hangouts, Lady Wolverton's Den. It's easy to get me. It's easy to get me if you're trying. My name really is Jennifer Wolverton. Wolverton. Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the chapter. Sarah, you said you had wanted to do the overview or a good part of the overview.
Sure. So I could just start at the very, very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You could just dive in with details, or let's do it. Okay. So Eddard, as you were saying, climbs up. His leg is killing him. Robert has gone on a royal hunt, and of course this has to happen on. It kind of reminded me. Have you guys ever seen Clerks? Like the dude is like, I'm not even supposed to be here today all the time, and so.
Yes, and that happens to me too. At Dollar Tree, if I work for somebody else, I swear to God, somebody comes in there being an ass, and I get very resentful because I'm thinking to myself.
Do you think of that movie?
Yeah, I think I should. I think of Clerks, and I think I shouldn't even effing be here.
Well, damn Aegon for his arrogance, Ned thought sullenly, and damn Robert for his hunting as well. And that's what I wrote, not even supposed to be here today next to that. All right, so he's up on the throne. It's extremely uncomfortable. You hear about how like gnarly and gross it is. It's like it could hurt you if you weren't sitting on it comfortably. If you were sitting on it too comfortably, you're
if you're sitting on it too comfortably, it'll cut you.
Yes, and then that's a sign you shouldn't be on it. But then people sometimes mystery die on it. All right, so people from the Riverlands come in. We'll get into the details of what they are. I don't have them written down. So basically, can we just jump to the spoiler? Sandor Clegane and Lannister brigands are...
Forgive me, it's actually Gregor Clegane, not Sandor. Sandor is
Baby, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm talking to Sandor right now.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead.
Sir Gregor Clegane, yes. Not Sandor. Can you appreciate how the wires got crossed in my brain? Thank you for cutting me off. That's a horrible error. Anyway, so they bring the Riverland lords bring the victims of this tirade. I mean, it's like they like to light people on fire. I think one of the charges ends up being rape. Like they drank up all the ale. They destroyed a town in the Riverlands, and then they brought these people who had experienced all that to go and say it in front of publicly in court. So it's sort of like, oh, this had to happen on my day, seriously. So we get to see Littlefinger, Pycelle, and Varys all make their comments, which is interesting, and I hope to talk about. Basically, Sir Loras wants to be the one to bring the Hound to justice. Ned says no, and that's when he basically puts together the group that eventually become the Brotherhood Without Banners. He picks Lord Beric Dondarrion, gets the command as befits your rank, and and then it ends with like, you should have sent Sir Ilyn Payne, and I hope he outgrows his disappointment as well. He loves his work. It's just like, about the guy who's gonna kill Ned later. I don't know, for heavy foreshadowing. And that is the overview.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It was a very, very interesting chapter. It was a chapter that really suggested that Ned is about to come to a downfall. Varys, at the end of that chapter, looked at him with a very leery look, a look of a person that knows that person that they're looking at is headed for ruin. I mean, he was making jokes about it in the end.
Who?
About Varys talking about Sir Ilyn Payne.
Oh, right.
And also, there was a point in the chapter where Sir Loras stepped up. A child of 16 stepped up.
Sansa was in court too. We talked about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sansa was watching you from the balcony with her scepter, and Sir Loras stepped up and wanted to handle this himself. And Varys talked to him and said that maybe it would have been a good thing that if you had Sir Loras in your pocket. If you're going to make enemies of the Lannisters, if the Lannisters are going to be your enemy, you might want to have a friend, in a Tyrell.
Yeah. Marry Robb and Marjorie.
Yeah.
Do it.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm happy that you said that, Sarah, marrying Robb to Marjorie, because when I first read that Eddard chapter, when Ned was talking to Robert, the first thing that I, was thinking was, why are they trying to hook Sansa off and marry him off to a boy that's in the camp of the Lannisters? If the food in High Garden is so plentiful and you're facing winter, why won't you marry your daughter off to Loras or marry Robb off to Marjorie?
So I didn't actually think it through beyond that they would be like a very cute couple.
Yeah,
I wonder, like, what was the relationship with the Tyrells and the Starks?
The Tyrells at the beginning really had no relationship.
We have no. Do we know that they? Do we know that the? We know that they fought for the.
They fought against.
They fought for Targaryens, and then they starved out poor Stannis.
No, well, they tried to fight against the Targaryens and got defeated in the Field of Fire.
Oh, back then,
yeah, way back in the day, and they just became the Tyrells.
Became the Gardeners.
And the Gardeners, fell away and died away and burned up in the wheat.
Oh, do you think maybe it's like snobbery in some way? They're like, oh, they're up jump stewards. Why?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what they kind of are. They kind of
absolutely. That's how some people probably feel, but
they shouldn't feel
food
that
is
way
food.
because the Gardeners are long gone and the Tyrells have been in charge for a very long time, and they have control of the High Garden now. And as we know, the High Garden, has the most plentiful fields. They have the cattle and the crops and the food and the money. Getting in league with the Tyrells would have been the thing to do. It was the wisest thing to do. So, and it's a shame that Ned didn't see it like that.
Well, certainly Tywin did. Certainly Tywin did.
I mean, all Ned saw was a 16-year-old boy that he was trying to protect. But this is the heir to High Garden. And having High Garden in your pocket would have definitely made a big difference in regards to the Starks.
Can I be annoying? He wasn't the heir. He has two older brothers.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. But still.
But he's their prize. He's their prize. He's their Marjorie in boy form.
Right, exactly. He's their prize. And the women control that family. And having Loras, being in the fray of it, in the thick of it, so to speak, would have definitely, secured the Lannisters against the Tyrells. So, I mean, it's a shame. I mean, Varys really pointed that out, and I was thinking the same thing, too. He should have sent Loras. He should have sent Loras instead of going to a no-name lord, that no one really cares
Marry
about.
Sansa. And they tried to get Sansa in with those brothers.
Yeah, but apparently, I mean, it's strange to me. I mean, the solution was right there in that first chapter where Eddard comes in, and Robert is talking about Highgarden and how plentiful the place was and how much food and the big pumpkins and the beautiful women and so on and so forth. But they decided to put Sansa in the crosshairs with the Lannisters, which is very sad. Sad indeed.
I couldn't. I'm having too many thoughts. I just need to shut them all down.
We can go ahead and veer off to the beginning.
Sure.
I did kind of want to discuss the Iron Throne itself.
Yes, that's a great way. It's basically, first of all, in the first paragraph, everything's red is blood. It's red in this Red Keep.
It's the Red Keep. Yes, it was another. It was another creation created by the Targaryens. There's a lot of Targaryens in this. A lot of Targaryens.
And it like the hunting tapestries, they kind of remind me of like, I don't know, like a college kid who puts up a tapestry and to make it feel like this is my room now or whatever. That's sort of he's kind of like Robert's being king is kind of like a college kid putting up a new tapestry over.
Yeah. Absolutely. He is the one who took over that place, and he's marking his territory with those tapestries. The tapestries are very, very important to this story. Nearly everyone, all of the lords have tapestries hanging in their homes and in their halls. And speaking of the tapestries, before I go on to the Iron Throne, I want to give a shout out to Tony Teflon because he did a wonderful video on the tapestries.
Oh yeah.
What the tapestries mean. He did a video some months ago, but it was a beautiful video. It was the first video that I saw from him. And if he's listening, Tony, you did a great job with that video. Video.
Does he get into? Yeah, he's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We that Littlefinger called for those tapestries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he called for
and the veil
later on in the veil. Absolutely, in the feast chapter. a long way. It's going to be a long time before we hit those feast chapters, though.
I know. What's up with those tapestries? I want to see them.
Yeah, they look beautiful. They sound very beautiful, and I kind of wish that they had shown them in the show.
Yeah, something's up with those tapestries.
Yeah,
something's up with those tapestries.
Because they put so much emphasis on the look of the show, but they didn't even show the tapestries. They didn't show them in the small hall, where the small council meets. They didn't show them in the.
They might not look good on camera.
But I think they probably would have been beautiful. I would have loved.
You know what looks good on camera? Boobs and dragons.
Apparently so. That's a good point. That's a very good point, Sarah.
I'm not a media expert, but that's how I've come to understand it.
Mm-hmm. So make sure, for all of my readers out there, make sure you check out the scenes with the tapestries. I think those tapestries tell a beautiful story.
And Teflon's got a good video on it too.
Can I read this chat from Eduardo Blanco? Hey. When an author uses a very wide context, it's possible to use short paragraphs or oven phrases to give a huge meaning. I love this chapter because there are so many examples of this.
Such as? What's an example of what you just described? Eduardo, sorry. Is that from Eduardo?
It is.
Okay. I am not familiar with what you described, so I'm asking for an example because I'm a simple person and that will help me. And then I'm going to pull the chat up on my phone and I'm going to Google it. If you know the answer, it's all you.
I have the answer to that. I know the perfect example. He said, Eddard said, black, white, and gray. All the shades of truth. That little sentence says a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because truth, can be snow white. It could be as black as a lie, or it can be in the middle, shades of gray. So I think that's what he's saying. That George R. R. Martin loves to use, one sentence, one paragraph to explain so much, and to make you ponder and think about what they're saying and the hidden meaning, beneath it.
Can I ask?
Mm-hmm.
Tywin Lannister was as much fox as lion.
Mm-hmm. That's another. That's another one.
Is that an example?
Yeah, that's certainly an example. I mean, yes, he's a ferocious lion, but he's not stupid about it. He's not blind.
He's cutting. He's cutting like
I have to tell you. So we know, like, Varys is making jokes about Cyril and Payne at the end, but I like this chapter a lot because it shows. I like it. I like Ned when he's making. I think Ned did great in there. In terms of how he handled people and like broke down a complex situation. There's these terrified peasants who basically think they have to go publicly declare to the royal family. Okay. So right. It's the stag, it's the lion, right? So you have to go call the queen's father a tyrant for sending very obviously, but not overtly, Lannister knight. Oh, he's an anointed knight. An anointed knight would never do such a thing. And it's like, yeah, we could just talk about that later. But so these peasants are terrified, and Ned reads it and he said, this is like, so Tywin is much fox as lion, or lion as fox. He can't be accused of breaking the king's peace because we don't know who started it. Oh, Littlefinger says, oh, was it, maybe they stole the big scary horses that have never pulled a plow before. Maybe they stole them and that's why they were so well armed. Like we know from the Mountain Clans chapter, that's not how it works. But anyway, sorry, Misha, what were you gonna say?
No, you're right. I mean, that was just a paper thin excuse. We all know. Everyone in the story knows who started this. Everyone knows
in the show, did they dump like raw fish or something on the floor? Does that happen in the books?
I don't know. That did not happen in the story, but
it did happen in this chapter. But it's a good way of just saying "fuck you, Tully." Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, we all know what this started from. Eddard knows what this started from. It was because of Catelyn, taking hold of Tyrion and, having him arrested. That's exactly where this is coming from. This is retaliation.
And he sees his cunning and how easy it is to trick Edmure.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Eddard calls him gallant instead of stupid. Like, not that he's stupid. His heart is good, but like Rob gets mad at him for his battle decisions too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can tell. I mean, he's kind of surrounded by a lot of children trying to take on old, Papa Tywin. That's how I see it. I mean, Tywin is like in his 60s. He's lived a long time. He's very intelligent, very, very smart. He's ruthless, but he's intelligent about it. And then we have people like Edmure, who was not smart at all. Very, very. They call him gallant, but he's not wise. And then we have Lars, who was 16 years old, just a young thing.
Well, I think you see Hoster Telly's like stink on it too, because he's the one who sends them all down to go and publicly declare this so that we're not accused of breaking the king's peace when seeking justice for this, because it would fall up to the lords that protect those lands that you're not allowed to do that. Yeah.
But Hoster Tully, we all know that Hoster Tully is a very old man, and he's ill.
But so he's smart, like battle-wise. I feel like he's got good. That's why Kat is so worried. Like, why is Edmure in charge? Yeah, like, because Hoster must not be in good shape if Edmure is making army decisions.
No, he's not in good shape, and he is intelligent, probably more intelligent than Edmure. But he's old and he's weak, and he just doesn't have the strength in him, the physical strength in him to go to battle. So he's relying upon his son, and on top of that, Brendan the Blackfish Tully, up until this point has been in the Vale of Arryn, away from all of this,
right?
From in neutral. So he had to pretty much rely upon Edmure, and Edmure, is a good man, no doubt about it. He's a very good man. He's a Tully. He's a very good person, but he's not built for war. Some people just aren't built for that,
Yeah, if Edmure could have just waited for Uncle Brendan to show up,
Yeah, then Brendan probably would have taken control and probably would have done a far better job of it. But Tywin knows that Edmure is going to be spreading his forces very thin to try to defend his lands, when the truth is it should be the crown that's handling this, because the reason that this is jumping off is because of what's going on in the crown, with Robert and Cersei and Eddard and the king, the queen, the hand's wife, the queen's brother. This is all coming from the monarchy. This is all coming from the higher ups in the monarchy. And Eddard is right that this is not just some lord's battle. This is my fight. This is Robert's fight.
The king's peace. It's and Hoster makes sure that he makes those witnesses go and testify, because what Jaime and Cersei do is they say, oh no, Ned started the fight. Like, basically Ned's at war. Ned knows he's at war, and I think he does well in this chapter, but Hoster wants to make sure because that's what they said. They said, he was coming out of a brothel, and when he attacked Jaime. We know that's not what happened, but just lies come so easily, and you can just, the way some people can just make a mockery of what actually happened.
Absolutely. I mean, Jaime at this point is just as horrible and is conniving and deceitful as his sister Cersei Lannister.
So
he hasn't arrived there yet.
I need like a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. No problem. We're discussing Eddard tonight. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat, and we will try to answer as many of them as possible. So Ned is on the throne. He's speaking with the people from the town of Shearer. They were attacked by Lannister brigands. These brigands were led by the Mountain That Rises, Gregor Clegane, the older brother of Sandor Clegane. And we all know his treachery. His treachery is legendary. His brutality is legendary. I mean, even when he was a child, I still think about that Sansa chapter, where he tells, where Sansa, well, not, excuse me, when Sandor tells Sansa exactly what happened to him and how he achieved that burn on the side of his face. We all know how treacherous and deceitful and vicious he is, and he is showing how vicious he is, and he certainly has an affinity for burning things down. He pretty much burned up the town of Shearer, just like he burned up Sandor Clegane's face. Uh, so I mean, he's an arsonist. He's a rapist. He's a pillager and a plunderer, and he has been let loose on the Riverlands. So, and as we well know, as book readers and show watchers, the Riverlands is going to be taking, pretty much the hardest hit in this war. Uh, Now, I also want to point out that Tyrion is also on the loose. Tyrion has made it through his trial. He's connived and outsmarted Liza Aaron, and he's on the loose. And he, like his father, is looking for revenge. So I have to wonder about, what's going to be happening in the Winds of Winter now that Tyrion has gotten the clansmen on his side. I mean, is it going to be peaceful in the Vale come the Winds of Winter, or is it going to be like another Riverlands? Are the mountain clans going to pillage and plunder? Will Sansa have some part in it? Will she be abducted by the people of the mountain clans? Will she have to be some sort of a conciliator between, the people of the Vale and the clansmen, the people of the mountains of the moon? What's going to happen now that Tyrion has revenge on his mind? He wants to, bring hell and havoc to the Vale of Aaron because he was treated so poorly by Liza Aaron. So we're going to have to see later on, seeing as the Riverlands has just been decimated, is the Vale of Aaron going to be decimated as well, later on. So we're going to have to see what happens, when George puts out these last two books, especially in regards to the Vale of Aaron. The throne. The throne itself was created by was it Balerion the Dread?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, Balerion the Dread created the
Balerion the Black Dread.
Yeah,
Black Dread.
Yeah, Balerion.
Yeah, BBB.
Was the creator of the Iron Throne. He made that throne out of the swords of his fallen enemies. So I mean, this chair in my mind, and as a Southerner, I kind of feel as Jen does. Some things can be imbued with power. Some things can have curses upon them. And I think that chair is cursed.
I think you're right, girl. And I'm glad to hear you say that you agree with me upon some things. I'm telling you, there's some curse.
As a Southerner, I believe in that.
Yeah, and doll Annabelle is cursed. I believe that. Those people, that go around. I can't remember that Elaine Warren. And they go around, and I really believe some of that stuff. Some of it I think is completely outlandish and nuts, but
some of it is. But I do believe, I agree with you that certain things, certain things can be imbued with a certain power. Like if a house, like if there's some sort of a massacre in a house.
Okay, I don't want to live in the Amityville, New York house. You couldn't give it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
You couldn't give it to me.
Yeah. House where a lot of people died in it, then I personally wouldn't want to live there. I mean, I feel like those walls are cursed. And like that, I believe that chair is cursed because it's built upon the blood of so many people, so much death, so much surrender, so much heartache. I believe that chair is cursed, and anyone who sits upon it may come to a bad end. And if you look at the track record, all the Targaryens are dead. Robert is falling apart. Joffrey is gonna be falling apart.
That's because they don't have dragons.
Yeah, Dany is trying to get to that chair, but I think she's better off in Meereen, if you ask me.
Drogon's gonna get her that what does he call it? Iron chair or something.
Anyone who sits on that chair just comes to bad ruin. I just feel that. I just feel like that chair is cursed. I mean, think of the show. Joffrey was on the throne. Then
Cersei looks pretty comfy on it.
Yeah, Cersei
does that thing with her fingers, like.
Yeah, Cersei, is falling apart too. Marjorie on the show, she became queen, and she's now dead. Think of Thomas.
Well, she never sat on the Iron Throne.
Well, no, but she's close. But you understand.
I understand. You're talking like metaphorically. I'm like thinking like physically of people sitting on it, because it is such a physical presence in addition to what it means symbolically as a throne. But
well, wasn't it Maegor?
Even Tommen.
Wasn't it Maegor the Cruel that they literally found on that chair, and it looked like he had been stabbed to death?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that Targaryen history is so crazy. Yeah. Maegor the Cruel did something. What did he do? I don't have it all.
One of the people, I think one of the earliest people to die on it, like died mysteriously.
Yeah, I think that's Maegor the Cruel.
It's the one that took over. They didn't want him to take over after Aegon the Conqueror died, but he did, and he wasn't a martial guy, and there was all these like uprisings, and he got, I don't know, old, and basically his like step aunt mom took care of him, and it was a Rhaenys. It's the two sister wives had sons that had battling issues. That's the problem with such complex situation.
I understand. I don't have the words, word for word, but I know what you're talking about. And one of them ended up killing his brother or half brother or something just to get to that chair, and then died in a bad way himself. So as I said before, I just believe that chair is cursed, and anyone who sits upon it or tries to go for it, ends up getting the axe.
Permission to bring it back to the chapter?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sitting on that chair currently is Ned Stark.
Yes, is Ned Stark, exactly. And
this, I circled a little paragraph in here because he's listening to, I'm sorry, Misha.
Go ahead.
All right. So Eddard is asking, these people were looking to him for justice. He asks, what proof do you have that these were Lannisters trying to keep his fury under control? Did they wear crimson cloaks or fly a lion banner? And then this guy is funny to me. He said, even Lannisters are not so blind and stupid as that, Sir Mark Piper snapped. He was a swaggering bantam rooster of a youth, too young and too hot-blooded for Ned's taste, though a fast friend of Catelyn's brother, Edmure Tully. So that's sort of a way of giving what Ned thinks about Edmure Tully by comparing him to this little hot-headed boy, Mark Piper. Okay, yeah. So so we hear all three of the manipulators and their little comments on the raid. All right, so Sir Raymond Derry is talking. He says, at Wendish Town, people sought shelter in their holdfast, but the walls were timbered. The raiders piled straw against the wood and burnt them all alive. When the Wendish folk opened their gates to flee the fire, they shot them down with arrows as they came running out, even women with suckling babes. Oh, how dreadful, murmured Varys. How cruel can men be? And it's like, you cut people's tongues out, dude. But anyway, like little kids. But anyway, his thing is for the children. Then we've got I think is it Littlefinger who suggests, oh, well, maybe they stole it. And where were you to even help them? Like, why Littlefinger causes, is Alicia in the chat? And can I say a bad word? Littlefinger does his fuck shit, where she introduced me to that word and I use it all the time. Littlefinger does Littlefinger fuck shit. And Pycelle is so like, I will remind you that you are making accusations about our queen's dad. And even Ned is like sassy at this point, you know, and he's like, oh, really, Pycelle? This is like in a crowded court. He's like, I thought we would have forgotten if you hadn't mentioned that. Thank you. I was like, oh my goodness, Ned's being funny. It was cool.
Oh yeah, he's getting tired of all of this. You can tell it. He's getting sick of this. He came down there thinking that things were going to be good, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's just to the point where he's just getting tired. He's not even trying, you know, to cover up his disdain for these people anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does a good job of like being the grown-up. Like where's the king? He's playing with spears and animals.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the king? He's being the grown-up. He's being the grown-up, and that's.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. Yeah, this is very interesting. Him being the grown-up, because he's surrounded by Pycelle and those three.
Oh yeah, like this is what everyone knows, that Sir Gregor, not Sandor. So sorry, I messed that up. Sir Gregor killed and raped Ilya and killed her children. Everyone knows he's the mad dog. Like we've known that he burned Sandor's face. We know that already. Pycelle says, why should Sir Gregor turn brigand? By the grace of his liege lord, he holds a stout keep and lands of his own. The man is an anointed knight. Everyone knows whatever. Yeah, everyone knows what he is, and that none of those things matter, and that people go missing from that stout keep all the time. Mm-hmm. And he has many wives because they all die. And like,
yeah, I mean, there was even a sister. The Clegane sister that disappeared.
Yeah, so anyone who's a problem.
Yeah. For all I know, he probably killed his own sister.
I think that is what Sandor thinks. And I think Sandor got the F out of there as soon as he could. But I think he does think that Gregor killed their mother, father, and younger sister. I think like that's what we get in snippets of what he thinks. Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly agree with it. It's certainly the thing that he would do. He's just been a monster from beginning to end, and he only gets worse, and And you know, I'm thankful, you know, for Oberyn. It makes me thankful for Oberyn. You know, finally someone having the nerve to really hurt this man. He ended up dying himself, of course, but he did a lot of damage to.
That was a hard death. I know that's not. We haven't even met this man yet, but that was a hard death.
Oh, it was hard to watch. Certainly on the show. Oh Lord, I'll never forget when
I know, me either, and I'll never forget like sitting there, like not wanting, like I knew it was coming. You know what I mean? But I
didn't know it was coming.
I didn't want it to come because I really, really love Oberyn. Is one of my favorite characters. So I kept on. Even in the back of my mind, I held out some small hope, even though I knew better.
I mean, it took everything he had, but he got him. I have to give him credit for that. He poisoned the hell out of him. And so for that, I hate that he
mission died. Accomplished.
Yeah, he did what other folks couldn't. He did what other folks couldn't. So
well, and then who's that crazy maester who brought him back to life in zombie form?
Yeah, I mean,
Oberyn we needed more follow through. We didn't need him resurrected.
But he's not the same as he was, though.
Big giant body is, and who controls that thing now? Who controls dead Gregor Clegane?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But he's certainly not, in the Riverlands plundering. Put it like
That's
that.
true. Sorry, Sir Robert Strong wouldn't do such a thing. He just doesn't ever go to the bathroom or take his helmet off.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, he doesn't eat. I mean, things are different. He is not the same person that he was, and I think Cersei is just using whatever is left of him so she can make it.
He's like Cold Hands, but of the Kingsguard.
Yeah, exactly. True. Yeah, we're discussing Eddard, and we're discussing a few people in the chapter that made their appearance. Carl Vance and Mark Piper. They're very secondary or intermediary characters. We will be seeing those characters later on. Absolutely. Mark Piper for sure, because he is going to be completely against the Lannisters up until the end, I believe.
So you said Carl Vance.
Carl Vance and Mark Piper.
Do you guys mind that I'm like reading out of this book? But I got real crazy with the highlighter. Right? What can I say? All right, sad-eyed Sir Carl Vance. All right, who would have been handsome, but for a wine-stained birthmark that discolored his face, gesture to the kneeling villagers. And I don't know, Bloodraven with the face, with the port wine stain on his face in the Riverlands. That, I guess that's a thing there. But yeah, I don't know. Did anyone think of that or see that, or am I just like all birth defects that involve one eye and or a port wine stain has to do with
no. That I have actually seen. I knew a girl who had a birthmark on her face.
I did too.
It sucks, but it's not uncommon, and it certainly doesn't take away from a person's looks.
No, it doesn't.
It's nothing. It's just a part of human. I have a birthmark on my back. It's just a part of being human, and he drew the bad lot of having it on his face.
I had a really good friend, Tammy, that had a birthmark on her face that wasn't darker. It was actually lighter. You know what I mean? Like it looked lighter than the rest of her skin, but she was very beautiful, and it certainly never stopped her from attracting the opposite sex. So I would say that certainly was never a hindrance for her.
It's just a sign of humanity. That's all. Some people have freckles.
Right. I think freckles are cute. I don't have any freckles, but I like freckles.
Ew.
It's just what human beings go through. It's just something that human beings go through. It's nothing that George didn't make up. Whatever.
Sarah, you don't like freckles?
I have them.
Whatever sickness that people are visited, with the exception of grayscale, I believe. It all comes from, true illnesses that human beings suffer,
Yeah, it's tricky when it's like a vascular malformation and it's like bright purple or wine, like looks like wine. It looks, I know what a wine stain looks like. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so Bloodraven reference. You were talking about you want to talk about the three lords that, you know what, it's almost 10. You want to talk about the team he puts together, like the squad?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and plus it's almost 9. Well, it's 9 here, so.
Oh, yeah, I'm on that East Coast time.
Yeah, no problem. Lars, steps forward, trying to, put his hat in the ring, but he's politely declined.
Damn it, these things keep falling off me. Okay. Okay, vengeance, Ned said. I thought we were speaking of justice. Burning Clegane's fields and slaughtering his people will not restore the king's peace, only your injured pride.
Not me.
People of Share, I cannot give you back your homes, your crops, nor can I restore your dead to life. Perhaps I can give you some small measure of justice in the name of our King Robert. Who's he put together?
Come to bed tonight?
Yeah. He would have done it himself if he didn't have a broken leg, because he would have done it himself if his leg wasn't broken.
Excuse me, Sarah.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Jennifer, would you mind muting your
Oh,
microphone?
I'm sorry. I thought I was muted.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So Lord Eddard says the first men believed that the judge who called for the death should wield the sword, and in the north we hold to that still. I mislike sending another to do my killing, yet it seems I have no choice. He gestured at his broken leg. So Tywin was very much trying to pull him out, and he would have if Jaime hadn't broken his leg. I do not fear Gregor Clegane, Sir Loras said haughtily. Let's see. Okay. Lord Beric, he called out. Thoros of Myr, Sir Gladden, Lord Lothar. I mean, how does he even know who all these people are? I just feel like he's doing a good job here. The men named step forward one by one. Each of you is to assemble 20 men and bring my word to Gregor's keep. 20 of my own guard shall go with you. Ed, why do you keep doing that, man? Lord Beric Targaryen, you shall have the command as befits your rank. Oh, and Sansa has seen all this too, and he's all mad. You want to talk about Sansa real fast?
Yeah.
What do you? I think that Sansa should have been in that damn room. He's mad that his daughter might. You know what she's about to see? She needs a little bit of an education, and you should have talked to her about why he did what he did, and what she saw, and why he. Because she's just sitting around with Jane Poole talking about how gallant Sir Loras was, and it's like that's not what you should have taken away from this situation. Like I'm going to talk to you about why I did what I did and how society works and the poor people. Like,
yeah, I mean, it really explains how sheltered and overly protected she was, and apparently Ned is the cause of that.
And that's not her fault. She's a kid, and
yeah, I understand it. But you are right, Sarah. She should have been there. She should have, borne witness to these people. But and one thing that Ned did with Arya that he didn't do with Sansa, he didn't warn Sansa. He didn't sit her down and say, "Winter is coming.
Not yet.
These people are not our friends. We're in a dangerous place." He never explained that to Sansa, but he did explain it to Arya, and she had, more of a mindset of what's really going on, while Sansa was still in this fairyland. And I really am surprised that he did not sit down with Sansa and say the
Do you think he knows how to relate to Sansa? Do you think he knows how to relate to Sansa?
No, I mean, yeah, it's his daughter, of course, and he
it's
wants to
his
protect
daughter,
her.
but it's not like Sansa's not like his sister.
No, Arya is his favorite, obviously. It's obviously his favorite over Sansa. He loves Sansa, of course, and would have died for her and did die for her. But he didn't really know how to speak to her and sit her down and talk to her. Like a father, like he spoke with Arya.
Septimore Bane is supposed to train a queen. What?
I mean, yeah, he's yeah. I mean, he loved her, of course. That's his daughter, of course. But he didn't really know how to communicate to her. Like
she's really insufferable. Like she has a chapter coming up, and she's really insufferable. And I sort of get why people hate Sansa so much if they just read that one chapter. Of course, she's a brat. She's upset. She's an upset child.
Yeah, I feel sorry for her, but I do feel that Sansa should have had enough common sense in her to see what was going on, to see that the fact when she rode into town, it didn't occur to her that the place was stinking.
It was nothing like she'd ever seen. She's convincing herself. You know what? It probably did smell like shit, and she was probably like, you know what? I'm finally in the city. This is what I've always wanted. Like she's like, Joffrey's going to be brave, even though she saw what a coward he was when he was like picking on Micah. Like Sansa saw all that and is telling herself that
he is this great person.
That she's not, and maybe she knows how out of her element she is. She just does. I mean, she's just a kid who's like, it's like she's been to the mall for the first time or something. There's all these different.
Yeah, she's not quite, and she's still not quite processing what's going on here because
because the first thing she does is she runs to Cersei for help.
Yeah, I mean, even in the Vale, she's not quite processing what's going on. Because if she were processing it, she would be asking Peter a lot of questions. Where's Jane Poole, for one? because
Yeah,
Jennifer
I
was
don't
sent
know.
to
I don't know
him.
how you survive Littlefinger.
Yeah.
I do not know how you. I don't know. I don't even. Ooh,
I love Littlefinger. I mean, I'm sorry, he's a villain, and
he's a
some
villain,
villains, and I know that
but they're
he's a
interesting. Villains
villain.
are interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your villains make your story. I hate Ramsay. I hate Joffrey, but I know the need for a good villain, and your villains
Euron.
make your story. Yeah, even him. I hate him. I hate him, but you need him. You need a good villain to keep your story going. It's just the
Tyrion. I
way
think
it
Tyrion's
is.
a villain now.
Well, Tyrion, has always kind of treaded that line. Yeah,
I think he was really into when he thought he had a girlfriend and was like running the city. I think he thought I don't think he was a villain then. I think he actually cared about people. He led people into battle because they.
Yeah, I mean the same. Yeah, that's a good point. The same people he led into battle at the Blackwater was being slaughtered by the Dothraki on the show.
Oh, we don't even talk. Girl, you're talking about continuity. Don't get me started.
Yeah, exactly. I understand.
But you're
the
right.
show.
And it's I couldn't do it, so thank you for it.
Well, let's move on. What's next? Eddard. He's sitting up there. He's listened to the people, and he's made his decision. He's decided to put Gregor Clegane on blast, pretty much. He calls him a false knight. That he's being stripped of all of his rank, his titles, his holdings, whatever he has, he's being stripped of it. He's completely against Sandor Clegane. He's upset. He's trying to hide his rage and his weakness, but he's standing strong as best he can. And he's making it clear that Sandor Clegane is an enemy of the realm. He is to be sentenced to death, and along with all of the people that were with him in doing all of this horror and this rampage. The commoners and everyone in the room, is calling it vengeance, but Ned sees it as justice. He's seeing this as justice. Jennifer, you on your phone?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I was. You can hear that?
Yeah, I can hear you clicking.
You can hear those little clicks? Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's no problem. No problem.
Okay, I can't believe you can hear that. Damn, these headphones are good.
Yeah, apparently
Thank God for a garage sale, right?
Jennifer, do you have any comments? It's just been me and Sarah talking. Do you have any comments? Anything you want to hear? Anything you want to say?
Okay, well, I just want to say this, like this whole chapter is like and I think they represent this pretty well in the show when Ned is sitting on the Iron Throne and taking all the supplicants or whatever, and they come in. I think they did a good job with this in the TV show. So when I always give we talk so bad about the TV show often, but the truth is they actually did a really good job with this scene. Mm-hmm. But there is a video out, and I believe it's a Preston Jacobs video. And I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but he says that that this is all, it's not what it appears to be.
That it's like Targaryen restoration.
I don't remember necessarily that, but just that the villagers contradict themselves several times, and it just points out some inconsistencies in the story. And yeah, I think it does have something to do with that. It's been a long time since I watched that, but
yeah. Well, I mean, we know the Darys.
I'm sorry, I had
we know the Darys.
Yeah,
Dany and her brother away was at Sir Willem Darry, and when I don't know if we know it in the book from this book yet, but they stayed at the Castle Darry, and they took down. You're talking about tapestries. They took down their dragon tapestries when the Baratheon Lannister squad was in their house. It's like when you take down your decorations for the Airbnb. They took down their dragons. So, we know that they are not.
Wait, what? You have to take what do you have to do for Airbnb?
No. I'm kidding. Like if you take down, you don't want to offend your guests, so you take down like your like hateful shit or whatever. Like
I get what you're saying.
Dragon stuff up. They didn't fight for the Baratheons, and later it's like Jaime and Tyrion were like, they found them and they found where they used to hang like very, very recently. And
I think it's Jaime who finds them when he goes over there to talk to Lancel, when Lancel's been all gone super pious.
Oh, right.
You know, I'm talking about.
I forgot about that. Gatehouse Amy is a dairy.
Yeah, Gatehouse Amy was, she's half dairy, half Frey, yeah?
Castle Dairy is what comes with Amore Frey?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, why? Apparently my mind is, we've got new wires crossing.
It's fine, I get it, man. It's easy to get,
you get so into it, and then you like are like, oh my God, there's this thing over here and this thing over here. They're the same thing.
When Jaime had passed by there or whatever, you know, to try, and I think that his uncle said, man, please try to talk some sense into your cousin, basically. And he sees, I think he's just kind of checking Castle Dairy out or whatever, and he sees where not long ago they had taken those tapestries down. Like they hadn't had them down that long, you know. Y'all know how you have a picture up or you'll have something up. And because I know personally, this little thing, I'm going to turn my camera on for a minute. I don't look cute today. That's why it's off. But for instance, if I take down the fleur-de-lis slate, which somebody gave me in Russell for our wedding, so that it's been up there 6 years, you take that down and my paint is actually,
different color.
Yes, because I think that's what Jaime noticed. And then he noticed later he found the tapestries or whatever, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong too.
No, that sounds right. Yeah, the sun discolored it or something. Yeah. Yeah, so well, Gatehouse Amy. She's a fun character.
Their little dinner is what's fun when they sit down to eat.
So you remember our friend Fred Targaryen, Uncle Daddy?
Yeah, we know Fred. Uncle Freddy. Fred
likes Amy. That's one of his favorite characters.
I mean, you know, some people like a sure thing. Some people like it.
It's great. I mean,
okay, some people hit that sure thing every time instead of putting a little work into it. That's just truth. That's just truth. And we've all got that one friend who's a hoe. I mean, come on, let's all admit it. We've all got that one friend who's a hoe. And
if you don't, you're the hoe. No, I don't like thinking of women that way. What you said made me laugh.
It's a fine line, put it like that.
Everybody likes a sure thing. That made me laugh.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
We're discussing Eddard tonight.
I have to say, I can help wrap it up a little bit if you think.
We can. Well, we're moving toward the end of the chapter anyway.
All right, so
go ahead.
At the base of the throne room, we got Varys gathering papers from the small council table. Littlefinger and Grand Maester Pycelle had already taken their leave, and that's when he just starts to make all the comments about. He said, "You are a bolder man than I, my lord." And how so, Lord Varys? Ned asked brusquely. He was in no mood for word games. He said, that's when he said the thing about Loras, like you should have sent Loras, make friends with the Tyrells. Sir Ilyn, he is the king's justice after all, sending other men to do his office. Some might construe that as a grave insult. He said, no slight was intended. In truth, Ned did not trust the mute knight, though perhaps that was only because he misliked executioners. I remind you that the Paynes are bannermen to House Lannister. I thought it best to choose men who owed Lord Tywin no fealty. And then it's like, oh, and he so does love his work. And then that is the end of the chapter. We talked
very
about
good,
all of it.
Sarah. Very good. You're always so good at the overview.
Laura has a question. Hello, Laura. Do you think that Eddard was reckless in confronting Cersei with what he found in the book?
Oh, God. 100%.
I think he wanted to save children. And we will talk about it in greater detail when we get to that chapter. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair enough answer.
And I know you're asking Misha, Laura, but 100%. 100%, no doubt in my mind. I understand what he was doing or trying to do, but like we've said many times on this stream, and in life, you know, just because you're being 100% honest with somebody and laying your heart out for them, crying in front of them, telling them your truth, and they're acting like they're going to do whatever, and then they go behind. And then we know what Cersei did, of course. She rallied her troops and turned on him basically before he could turn on her. But, you know, even in real life, sometimes you can lay your heart down to somebody and be being completely honest with them. You know, don't even know how you can be more real. And then and then they act like they're all sympathetic and everything, and then they turn on you, you know, and you have to understand in this situation that, you know, Eddard is a person who, you know, expects the same amount of trust, honor, and respect that he gives, and that's just not the way the world in general works.
My answer is not that he was really being reckless, even though there was a reckless quality about it. I just feel like he was being naive. He wanted to believe that Cersei was a better woman than he thought. But apparently, and to a point, she really was. She did, you know, give him a chance to get out of there.
She tried
but
she tried to make something happen. Yeah.
She tried to get him out of there while he still had his head, but in the end, he lost it.
She touched him too.
And she did nothing about it. And she didn't even lift a finger to try to, you know, save Ned's life from Joffrey, even though she didn't want him to die. She knew that when Ned was killed in that way, it was all going to be downhill from there. So I don't really think that Eddard was reckless. I just think that he was naive and not acting more swiftly. I mean, if it were me, I wouldn't have even gone to Cersei. I would have went straight to Robert. You know, no question. I would have went directly to Robert. I mean, even if I had to go out in those hunting fields and try and you know, and try to talk to him out there in the woods, and that's what I would have done. I would never have gone to Cersei. I just think that it was really a foolish thing for him to confront her, and I think it was naive. And I don't think it was reckless so far, but I do think that he was naive and acting, you know, like a person that really didn't know how the world worked. I mean, Cersei made it clear in the beginning, look, it's me or it's them. It's me or it's them, and I'm not gonna flinch from doing what I have to do to protect myself and my kids. And he didn't take that you know, too much, you know, to heart. He didn't take that too much to heart on who Cersei was. So that's pretty much my answer to your question, Laura. Thank you so much for asking. If you have any more questions, if anyone else has any more questions, please post them now. As for the ending of the chapter, I felt that it was a very telling conversation, and we talked about this already in the beginning. We jumped all the way past what was going on in the chapter right to the end, because pretty much that was the juicy part of the episode. I mean, not of the episode, of the chapter. It was the juicy part of the chapter. Varys just read him like a book, read him, you know, read him for all the mistakes that he made. Him not going to Laras was a huge mistake. You should have. You should have also gotten Royce in there. Royce of the Royce family. Albar was
There was a Royce. There was a Royce called upon to do something. Yeah, I can't remember what he was asked to do, but there was a Royce in there called upon to do something.
Yeah, there was a Royce called in, and Eddard didn't choose him. He chose Thoros of Mir, who is a foreigner, by the way, from Mir. He chose Beric Dondarrion, who is just no more than a landed knight. I mean, and also above that, he sent away 20 of his household guard. You don't give up your guard for anyone around you. I mean, you don't give up your guard. You got to keep people around you that will protect you. And he sent away like 20 of his own guards. That was a mistake too.
Have you ever? If Tony watches this, he's probably going to laugh. Or if anyone who knows anything about boxing is going to laugh, like they teach you defense before you can't hit somebody if you don't know how to, like, you said don't let down your guard, or you can't yeah, it was a boxing reference to me in my mind. Yeah
I mean, well, that is true of boxing as well. You got to keep your hands up, and Ned, he put his hands down, pretty much. He put his hands down.
I have to say, Misha, I hear you on all that. I like Eddard in this chapter. I think he does a good job. But
I do too.
Fair enough.
I mean, I know I'm not saying that he's not a good person, and he did, acquit himself very, but his decision making.
He seems good at the Game of Thrones in this book, in this chapter. I feel like he's even making jokes at Pycelle's expense. Like,
well, I mean, in my opinion, I can see the mistakes he made.
All right.
Him not bringing in Lars was a big mistake. Him sending away his guardsmen, huge mistake that he's gonna pay for.
All right, let's go.
Jon Snow does the same thing though too.
Yeah.
In the chat, since you just said that, Moni G, hey Moni. Moni G says, I think the big mistake Nettie made was sending his 20 guardsmen. He should have sent Robert's men, seeing as how he was acting as the king.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, Moni. Yeah, absolutely. He's sending his own guards away, his own loyal guards that can't be bought away. That wasn't right, bro. That wasn't right. That was a mistake.
I think I feel like it's almost as an extension of, I wish I could do this myself, because where in the North, if you sentence it, you go do it. Like, so he's like, look, I'll suffer with you. Take the people that are going to guard my daughters when there's mutiny here. Yeah, that kind of sucked. All right.
Yeah.
But,
also,
nobody could have known it was going to go this badly, though, for him. I mean, even Cersei was shocked that little twit pulled what he did.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just, we all know the story. We all know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the first time that I read it, I knew that this is something's going on here. I can feel it. Something's going on with Ned, and there are little signs if you know how to watch for them. This book is full of signs, full of little hints and nickels being dropped according, foreshadowing a fate of a certain character. You just get that feeling. I mean, when I first read the Red Wedding, I just got that feeling that something horrible was about to happen. You can just feel it in the air, and I'm getting a whiff of it now, rereading it for Ned. I can see the signs coming.
I know. Laugh out loud. Oh my gosh, Nancy T, you are hilarious. Going back to when I said, everybody's got that one friend who's maybe a little bit more sexual. Let's not slut shame, okay? That's maybe a little bit more sexual than the rest of us. Let's put it that way. And Nancy T says, maybe some people have more than one. Okay, Laura D says, once Robert was hurt, that's when Ned should have realized it was not going to go well for him.
Mm-hmm. Robert was his only protection.
I agree, Laura. Everybody on the panel, I think, would agree with you. There were so many red flags. So, just short of somebody shaking him and saying, look.
Like, Robert wants to go be a sellsword king. Like, he wants to run away and fight and fight and fight. Like, that's his thing. He would be and someone has to do the job, but he goes off and he's just surrounded by like people like Barris and Selmy who just let him do it. And nobody's telling him no. And he's like, your king commands me
Robert was
to drink.
Robert was yes to death, basically. And we see this a lot with people, especially celebrities. You know, when you've got so many people on the payroll and you do have advisors, but they're on your payroll and they're hired and fired by you. And the problem with King Robert is he was just yes to death. Ned was actually the first person who ever came in and was like, look, we can't afford a hands tournament. Are you kidding me?
And also, like, you know, you're not going to send a hired knife against Daenerys Targaryen. And if you do that, I'm going to leave. Yeah, nobody seems to have given him like real consequences. Like Barristan will be like, that wasn't chivalrous, or that was the honorable thing to do wouldn't be to kill a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not sure how we got on this topic, but yeah, yes to death is it's an unfortunate when it's easy for me to hate Robert just because I hate how he treated Cersei. But I mean, yeah, that is a very sad man there.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Poor Robert.
You hate him, Robert, but don't hate him because how he treated Cersei.
Oh, well, listen, this is why we just gotta cut it short. This is why we just gotta cut it short.
Yeah.
Well, not short, but this is, I know. Mish, isn't it funny how we pretty much disagree on everything?
But yeah, we keep it going.
Like we always say, it wouldn't be interesting if we all did. At least we don't sit here and yes each other to death. This panel,
like I see how you think Eddard was an idiot in this chapter, but I have to agree. I think he did amazing. And you're like, well, I guess we're just gonna have to disagree.
Yeah, I just felt like he should have made a better decision. I just felt like, I mean, and that's really the key to winning any kind of game. It to me, it's not really about the skill and knowing how the game is played. It's mainly about the decisions you make. I mean, I have to say this as a brand new gamer. I don't have much skill in playing these video games, but what I've learned from playing them, you have to make the right decisions at the right time.
And Misha, please just let the chat know, because I would like to know too. What are your games of choice that you've gotten into?
I have gotten into The Last of Us on PlayStation 4. I've gotten into Street Fighter 5. I've gotten into Ratchet and Clank. I've gotten into a few more, and I love to, watch gameplay of certain games on YouTube. I only have like four games. So, but I'm learning. I'm trying to become a gamer because.
And where do you buy these games you play at? Where do these?
You can buy them right at the GameStop at the video.
Okay, GameStop Plus. That's what I needed to know. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, it just
that's what I gave my brother for Christmas was a gift certificate to there.
Yeah, you can buy them at a video game store. I mean, that's where I bought, one of my.
Look, even in Chalmette, Louisiana, we got a GameStop Plus.
I have a GameStop down the street. That's pretty much where I go if I want to buy a new game or something.
Laura D says, "Oh, please play The Witcher." Misha Houston.
I've heard that game is very good, and I do want to buy it and try and learn how to play it. These games are far more complicated now than they were back when I was a girl. Put it
back when Frogger.
Guess what I play? Guess what I play? Since you asked, I have an NES Classic, and I play Dr. Mario.
I'm sorry, I would have asked. I didn't know, Sarah, that you go.
I don't.
Yeah, when you would put the pill in the bottle.
Yeah, you can't make a game like that now. They throw pills at the germs.
Can I say this one thing about Dr. Mario? I saw someone playing that game on online. It's still being played. It's just of the retro classic.
I haven't. My hands are fat and slow when it comes to playing Super Mario Brothers, but they still work for Dr. Mario, and my kids are like. Because kids now will like watch people play games. Like, I guess that's a thing that happens. And they're like, Mom, I'm like doing dishes, like miserable. They're like, Mom, can we watch you play Dr. Mario? And I'm like hold my beer. Sure, of course. They actually like that. Yeah. And I can get up to level 19. There's only 20 levels.
Oh yeah, Dr. Mario is still being played. Mario has really grown leaps and bounds
Well, they have like the
Super
fancy
Mario
versions
Brothers.
of the game
They have
other
a
places, but
very beautiful version of it called Mario Odyssey. It's a beautiful game. You can get on YouTube and check it out. It's so beautiful.
Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey.
All right,
Laura
my kids like Mario, so you got to help me be cool.
Laura D says, if Ned did not confront Cersei, I think he would have had a chance to go back to Winterfell. And then she goes on to say, but then the story would not have evolved the way it did. Laura, that's something we say a lot here in book club is, that it's fun to analyze and talk about it. But at the end of the day, it wouldn't be the same story if the people didn't make the mistakes that they did and whatnot. So,
yeah, that's true.
But very good. We see Moni G.
She says she's lucky he didn't slash her throat right then and there. Hell's bells. He ended up in prison anyhow.
Right.
I mean, yeah, she did not.
I said right. Kreskin, Laura D. Jinx. I said right the same time you typed it.
I don't want to go too far ahead into the story because we haven't really gotten there yet. I don't want to spoil it too much, but we do have an open discussion here. But I kind of want to just, for now, in regards to Eddard, let's stay kind of in this chapter, if we can, as best we can.
Yes.
Because we haven't gotten there yet, but we do want to discuss it later on when we do get there and have something to talk about and not be repetitive and repeating ourselves.
Right.
We just talked about the same subject 2 weeks ago.
Right.
There's one more part. Sir Ilyn Payne. Sir Ilyn Payne is Varys makes a comment about Sir Ilyn Payne. And he says that he's staring. He was at the back of there and he's staring with those cold, dead eyes. And he just loves his job so much. I have to wonder what's going on in his mind. If there is a POV chapter, I would like to have Sir Ilyn Payne.
I wish he could write. I wish he could write like that. Like I wish he could just write and suddenly tell everyone everything.
Yeah. I mean, he cannot read or write. He obviously cannot speak because he lost his tongue. But I would love, even if it was just one page, give me something.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Because we always get other people telling us how he feels, and that could be so far from the truth because he learned his lesson the hard way to keep what he has to say or think to himself.
Right. And it would be nice to have a window into his mind. What are his thoughts on losing his tongue, on watching what's going on here, on being an executioner? What does he feel about
he listens to Jaime. Jaime confesses. He's like, I fucked Cersei right there while King Robert was asleep right there. And in Castle Derry.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anyone who needs a POV chapter, it's Sir Ilyn Payne. What does he have to say about everything that he's heard? I mean, he can't write, he can't speak, he can't read, but I just wish that he had some kind of way to have, his opinion shown.
And when you can't do, I bet he knows more. I bet he knows as much as anyone could, because when you lose certain senses, your other senses are heightened. Right. So his sense of hearing and what he is privy to and what people do and say in front of him is probably so unguarded.
People probably do insane things around him because they know that he cannot repeat the tale, which is, again, Jaime talking about. And then he realizes that Sir Ilyn Payne is laughing at him. You know what? He does get to express himself in weird clicking noises, and he realizes that Ilyn Payne is laughing at Jaime.
I mean,
that's great.
Because in the books, y'all, I don't think some people I don't think know what you're talking about. In the book, he practices when Jaime loses his hand. He practices with Ilyn Payne for the expressed reason that there's no way Ilyn can tell anybody that he sucks now.
And he also decides to just confess everything that he's done.
Oh yeah, and then he just starts telling him all kinds of shit.
Yeah, a big part of his redemptive arc is
confessions.
Sir Ilyn Payne.
Y'all. Confessions with Ellen Payne.
Yeah. Ooh.
Good night, Moni G.
Good night, Moni.
I also want to give a shout out to Wilco Johnson. He's the actor who played Sir Ilian Payne.
He's scary.
Apparently he had cancer, and he survived it. He survived. He had terminal cancer and survived.
Oh, good.
So good for him. He was let go on the show because he had cancer and he wasn't able to handle his role anymore. But he was diagnosed with cancer, and I'm happy to say that he survived it. He's a musician. He plays guitar and he sings and he plays piano. And he had terminal cancer for a time and he survived it. So shout out.
I did not know that. Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Shout out to Wilco Johnson. He did a wonderful job on the show as Sir Ilian Payne, and I would love to see him come back for the last season.
And I want to go to the chat real quick. Laura D says, I was late to the discussion, but you all make me feel so welcomed, and I'm so happy to be with you ladies. You are so welcome, and we're so glad to have you and Moni G and Nancy T and Eduardo stopped in. Eduardo is a guest on Johnny Indie Boots' channel tonight. After we're done, if you guys want to pop over there, Eduardo Blanco is a guest over there tonight. Shout out to them. Lieutenant Giles popped in tonight. Good to see ya. Who else, you guys?
It's Connie Super, Nancy,
Connie.
Laura.
Sorry, I am very grateful for everyone who comes in. I'm like, they said, who else? And I was like, I don't know.
Felicia, both Stacy's.
Alicia, yeah.
Felicia, both.
Everybody, yeah.
Everybody who popped in. Thank you so much.
Stacy 27, thank you so much. Felicia.
Thank you, Nancy T. Nancy T says, that is just how I felt here from the very beginning. Super sweet people.
Yeah,
Peace.
Bubba Husky came
in.
Bubba
Husky came in.
Mm-hmm.
So we're about to wrap it up, I believe. But if you still need something to do, Johnny Indie Boots is having a stream over in his channel where our good friend Eduardo Blanco is the guest. So if you still got some go left in you after we wrap things up, I suggest you go over there. Tell them we said hi.
If this chapter is in a T-shirt, what does the T-shirt say?
Eddard Stark. He doesn't know how to play the game. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Let's see. One good move does not make you a winner.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, something like that.
What does your T-shirt say, Sarah?
I don't know. Well, I'm thinking of like a fox and a lion, like to talk about. But the foxes are the Florence, so and they are known for looking like foxes, so it's not really working out for me right now, even though it was my question. I mean, from us talking,
a fox and a lion versus the wolf. Apparently.
Well, yeah, something, because they said he's Tywin Lannister is as much fox as he is lion. I liked when we were all laughing about the part where like, oh, everyone has that slutty friend, and if you don't have that slutty friend, you are that friend.
What did you say, Misha? You're cracking me up tonight. I'm sorry, Sarah. Go ahead.
No. That's not specific to Game of Thrones. It was just like a funny moment. So
you guys, Sarah, you look fucking good tonight, girl. Are you staying in?
Of course, I'm staying in.
Oh,
fuck,
man.
I'm gonna go. I gotta work tomorrow.
Oh no, you looking good though. Maybe you should go down to the Chili's and get you Applebee's.
Wait a minute. Go down to the Chili's and do what?
Get a margarita.
No.
Get no. Get you a $10 appetizer and a margarita. I don't know.
No.
Okay.
But thank you. On that lovely note. Thank you. I'm going to say goodnight because I have to go to bed and get up because that is my idea of an adventure.
Okay. Well, okay, we'll go ahead and end it right here.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Okay, no problem, Sarah.
Okay, next week, what is our chapter?
Yeah, our chapter is Sansa. We're doing
Oh, yay. Listen, I think Mackenzie is going to be our guest for that, you know, because she's a big Sansa lover.
Okay.
If that's all right. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing Sansa next week.
Is it Sansa 2? I think it's Sansa 3. It's Sansa 2 or 3.
I would have to look that up.
I think it's Sansa. Yeah, Alicia Kingston popped in. Yeah, thank you, Nancy T.
Let me take a second and try to look up and see.
Yeah, if it's not Sansa 2, it's Sansa 3. We haven't had very many Sansa chapters at all.
I'm getting online. Let me see. It's certainly a Sansa chapter. She had borne witness to what was going on in the throne room, and she's gonna deliver her opinion on the situation. That much I know is true. Game of Thrones. Let me find. I'm looking for her chapter. I'm not sure whether it's 2 or 3, but I'm sure it's gonna be in the title.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in the title of which exactly what number and what chapter it is. I think it's gonna be chapter 43 or 42. 42, 43, or 44. One of those chapters. We're in the 40s.
Wait, I can tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up our discussion for tonight a little bit early. Are there any final thoughts? If Jennifer, you have any final thoughts?
I honestly don't.
Okay.
I really don't.
My only thought is that I feel like Eddard could have been a wonderful king, but this chapter kind of reminds me that he really wasn't made for being a king.
You know, and I think that's what this chapter is supposed to give us, too, because really as Hand of the King, and especially as Robert's Hand of the King, if he had wanted to get into that take charge mode and, I basically rule behind the scenes, he could have. And I think this chapter is meant to show us that that's not him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he certainly has the heart of a ruler. I'll give him that. But being king is just more than what it seems. It's just so much to handle, and I don't want to be a part of the monarchy. I don't disrespect anyone who was born into that lifestyle, but I wouldn't want to be in the monarchy for anything. It's just not where I personally belong.
Okay, and it's going to be chapter 40. I think it's chapter 44, chapter 45 on audiobook.
Okay.
And I believe it's Sansa 2 because we've already done one Sansa chapter for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've done 2.
Okay, so it's Sansa 3, chapter 44, Game of Thrones, chapter 45, audiobook. Mm-hmm. Okay, very good, you guys.
Yeah, we're doing Sansa next week for sure.
So see you guys next week.
Thank you all so much, everyone, for joining us, and please come back next time. We're going to be on Jen's channel next week. Just to say that I'm going to stop filming it on my channel, and please make sure you make it over to Jennifer's channel. We've discussed this, and she said she's ready to take back over the stream.
Yes, I'm feeling rather good these days, and I tell you what, having this week off from work was much help to me, and very pleasant also. Mm-hmm. Very pleasant.
Okay, that's good. And we are definitely going to be doing next week over on Jennifer's channel. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And please have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Goodbye. Bye.